We don't plug into the wall to get electricity, but we are electricity. I believe the system doesn't want us as humans to be able to stop and realize what we actually are. Like, we are great technology. We just sleep and we run for like 80 to 110 years. It's crazy. We don't stop to really have a moment to like reflect in that and understand, like, I'm only here for so much time. Maybe I would love to do something besides like what I'm doing right now.
Welcome everyone to the Eons Ahead podcast, season 4. Where we like to have deep, intimate conversations with amazing people that are eons ahead. But what does it mean to be eons ahead? Well, it means they're ahead of their time and they see things that other people don't see, and they're able to communicate these visions to the world, making a positive impact for humanity. They're often doing things that other people are simply not doing. They're trailblazers, they're pioneers, they're leaders in their space. And our guest today is definitely one of those. His name is Ryan Kalish. Ryan was a professional athlete and baseball player in major leagues. He actually won 2 World Series and had many injuries during his career, which we'll talk about today. It was a big part of his story. And then transitioning out of his baseball career, he had a spiritual awakening, got into some psychedelics, and there's a very interesting story there we'll talk into. And then from there, his spiritual awakening dedicated his life to serving others. And that's so incredible. It's something I'm very passionate about. And that's one of the main reasons why he's eons ahead. And he's here today, Ryan Kalish.
Thanks for having me on, man. Yeah, it's been quite a journey, right? Just to touch on the baseball, the surgeries, 14 surgeries. 14. So it really took a toll.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. It took a toll on my body. Post-career, became a Pilates teacher.
Cool.
Got into some psychedelics. And that was when, the spiritual awakening happened. And the way it came to me was a direct connection to Jesus or Yeshua. Mm-hmm. And in such a way where I actually felt like I was him. Mm. It was very big, grandiose, came with, I'm going to save the world, kind of erratic behavior. Mm-hmm. But essentially what ended up happening was I got tricked into a psych ward without knowing I was going into a psych ward. I had friends who were concerned, much love to them. I get it. It's something that, well, you find out later that it's actually not, it happens to people. It's not the first person to say, I am Jesus or I am God. But of course, in society, this is not something that many people know how to handle and know what to do. Now, that was like 6-7 years ago. And I can say that, I'm not Jesus. I was touched by his spirit. And essentially, there's a long story between then and now. It's kind of, it's relevant, but irrelevant. What's really matters is what I'm doing now. Which was like, okay, if you've been touched by the spirit of Christ or Yeshua or Jesus, like live it, study it, understand it, and go for it. So yeah, like as you mentioned, especially over the last 7 months, because it's been 3 separate awakenings that have come to me. And now I'm really living that service out all over the world, Middle East, Africa. You and I did it yesterday here in the USA. So wherever I go, I try and do acts of kindness. I capture some of them on camera. I'm putting it online because, at the end of the day, I think in some ways we've gotten away from the true spirituality of Jesus. He cared about people. He was not a religion. And this is something that we've kind of forgotten, I feel like. So whatever, I'm just doing my thing, seeing where it leads. I enjoy it. It's what I love to do. So yeah, that's a little bit of the history from then till now.
I love that. All right. There's a lot for me to unpack there that I'm excited to get into. And yeah, there's a lot comes up for me, mainly around, like you say, the spirit of Yeshua and how you were touched by that and how you were actually truly inspired to get to know the man, the myth, the legend, the spirit of the man and what he was really all about. A lot of people, God bless them, they feel some connection with Yeshua, with Jesus, and maybe don't take the time to really get to know what he was all about and his words and his beliefs and what he was really all about. And it somehow gets all harmonized into the Bible and church and this kind of stuff, and then other pastors' opinions and all this. But it's really about what Yeshua says, what Jesus says is what I just keep going back to. And like you're saying, Ryan, like Yeshua was all about helping people, especially the people that needed it most, the poor, the sick, the imprisoned, the impoverished. And he's like, go and help these people first and foremost. And that's really what it's all about, like that's the essence of his teachings, is like really helping the sinners. And the sinners basically means the people that are out of alignment. And Jesus knew that these people were out of alignment, not based on their fault. It's really, they were born into a corrupt or broken system. So he had sympathy and he had empathy for them, knowing that it's not their fault. They were programmed essentially by the program of the Matrix. And he came here to help them. And he's like, you should go and help these people before, you call me Lord and do all this kind of stuff. So yeah, let's get into that. Let's get into what was the genesis or the realization that it was really all about, the essence of that Yeshua was really about serving others.
Well, I would say that it's pretty obvious to see that nothing has really changed since Yeshua came here. I mean, he was crucified.
Mm-hmm.
He may have left a consciousness behind for people like you and me to pick up on,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all throughout the Bible, and the Bible it's been turned into a religious book. I don't necessarily know if it started out to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it talks many times about how he went to the poor, not to bring treasures with you, don't leave treasures behind on earth while people are suffering. Like there's all these different mentions of that. So when you see and you really embody, because that's what happened to me. All right. So if I felt so closely connected to Yeshua at a soul level through psychedelics, which I've heard you say on your podcast, it's soul revealing. So, okay, maybe I've been touched or I have a part of his soul with me. So if I do, let me go for it like I did with baseball. Let me embody it. So when you go out in the world and you see how many people are just left forgotten, you see how many people are impoverished, poor, hungry, sick. And, like a place like Africa, the leaders and the pastors are the richest people. And the rest of them are forgotten. And they say they follow Jesus, the pastors and the political leaders. And you're like, what are you talking about? It doesn't even really matter if you're Muslim or Christian. Like Jesus said a lot of the same things in both books. He's talking about lifting the spirits of people, loving those people. So it kind of gives me an anger that's inside of me always. It's always with me. And I also feel like one of the things that Yeshua did well, and yes, he obviously had his emotional outbursts, but like, you can't really do that all the time, or else you can't really serve. You can't really be heard. So I transmute a lot of that anger into the service. But like I said, when you're out there in the world and you hear this consistent line, like Jesus died for our sins, for me, it's a spiritual bypass of the true spirituality of Jesus. I said it already, but it's like Jesus didn't care about religion or Christianity. He cared about people. That was his thing. So he was a divine being. I think he felt a connection to the divine through whatever practices he was doing. And he saw that in everyone, So yeah, that's a little bit about it. And yeah, it's tough, the life that I live, from a just absorption of energies when you're out there and you just see like, so I've kind of stopped, but in the beginning time in Africa, the first 2 times, I might just randomly cry. But now it's like, all right, like just keep going, keep showing up for people. I can't force people to see my journey. They're going to see it in their own time. Just keep showing up. Don't scream and shout. Just put in the reps. So that's kind of, a little bit about what I'm seeing out there.
Yeah, you're really walking the walk and being the light and not forcing people to see it and trusting and allowing them to see it on their own time. Everybody's on their own journey, right? And their self-realization journey of when they realize it.
Yeah, it's true. And then like, because yeah, like, when I'm in Africa, I learn a lot about, like, let's talk about this podcast studio.
Mm-hmm.
All of the equipment that's inside
Mm.
of here comes from the Congo or
Mm.
somewhere in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
where the people who are getting those minerals to go in all of these electronic devices,
Mm-hmm.
they're basically blood minerals.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these people are living in impoverished conditions. There's even, in a lot of cases, children doing the work
Mm-hmm.
to get that. And it's not to say we shouldn't use it, but if you're embodying Christ and Jesus, you got to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, like, I don't want to, it's no shame to any of us. It's the system we've been into.
Mm-hmm.
It was here before us,
Mm-hmm.
and if we don't do something about it, it will be here after.
Right.
So using this equipment, like, I am going to always talk about the Congo and Africa, because
Mm-hmm.
everything, it's the heart of innovation. And, it feels like we could do something about it
Mm-hmm.
collectively and consciously if we chose to,
Mm-hmm.
just like we choose to make the next iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
All those companies, Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA, every company is making the profit off of the backs of basically blood work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that needs to be said and recognized. At least awareness is the start, right?
Yeah, at least awareness, and at least talking about it and putting attention to it, because nobody's really talking about it. Nobody's giving attention to it. I know, there's a lot of attention that goes to other conflicts in the world, and that's fair. But it's interesting that very few people are really talking about the conflicts in Africa, and especially the Congo and Sudan. And yeah, it's wild to think, like, yeah, we're in this beautiful, amazing podcast studio, which is great, because we could utilize this to really deliver an important message. People are going to see it with nice production, nice lighting, nice microphones, and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully that message gets delivered in a pretty shiny package. But the message in there is not so pretty. It's really like, yeah, no, there's kids that are, almost pretty much in slave labor, and, run by corrupt governments over there. And then in not so integral business deals, sending the minerals over here so we could use this equipment. It's pretty wild. It's very corrupt.
Yeah, it's corrupt. We live in an inverted world.
Mm-hmm.
And in America, of course there's poverty, but we don't really see the hardships of it.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us in America,
Mm-hmm.
we have water on both sides, Canada and Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like, Mexico's become more closed off from America than ever.
Mm.
We don't see the hardships. We don't see wars that the Middle East will face.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see what Africa is going through. So, for me, it's about bringing awareness right now. That's what it is. And still having compassion for those of us that are participating in that, because, even in my own life, to speak about when I was living in Indonesia, I have a real estate business there, which is, finished for the moment, but I do have properties there
Mm-hmm.
that make me some passive income. And the contractors bring over workers from Java. They're really skilled, really, really nice people, but they live in, honestly, like a room like this with no beds. And there might be 12 guys in one place.
Come on.
Yeah. I did that. Me.
Wow.
I participated in that.
What do you mean you participate in that?
I used my money to build homes
Mm-hmm.
by the hands of those men.
Mm-hmm.
So I participated in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I lived pretty close to one of my projects, and I couldn't even keep the blinds open because I was so shameful inside as it started to happen. Like, I was like, oh, wow, this is really what I'm participating in. And then, back in January, I had that awakening, feeling touched by Christ. And I said, you know what? Like, now it's time to do what you were always meant to do. Because back 7 years ago, going into a psych ward, it was very confusing. That psych ward was for people that were either harmful to themselves or harmful to others. That's what a 5150 is.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, I remember hearing that. Yeah.
Maybe I was harmful to my own pockets financially. Like, I took out $10,000 in cash and I was handing out tends to all the homeless people, maybe whatever.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It wasn't so bad. But
Yeah.
other than that, like,
Yeah.
I was fine.
Yeah.
I was whatever. I was good.
Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden I'm spending 3 nights in this place with people who are actually really suicidal,
Mm-hmm.
people who are going through all sorts of different issues,
Mm-hmm.
having nurses check every 15 minutes at nighttime. I have 3 roommates. So now I'm like not getting any sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm confused.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know why I'm there, but I even like, and so you get out of there and your reality is completely skewed.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what's what.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what's real.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is what we talked about, even yesterday. It's like, there's no place for a psychedelic, a really big psychedelic consciousness to the moon where somebody says out loud, I am God,
Mm-hmm.
or I am Jesus. And really what they're saying is, I've connected to my divinity without a middleman.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need for a church.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes so rapidly and so quickly that it comes out and you say that. So if there is a place, a facility for someone like me to have gone at that time where they understand, like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want to, you are a part of God. God is all of us.
Yeah.
Like, I believe that you and I and God are all the same.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to be on a pedestal, or he or she.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a gender.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a whatever. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's a computer. Maybe it's a being. I like to call it the mystery. So the mystery, in my opinion, wants us to be equals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel. So if there was a place for a person like me at that time to go, probably in nature, that's what I always imagine,
Mm-hmm.
and figure out, okay, yeah, that's real. You're not that different from Jesus. You're not that different from God.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do we utilize this awakening to better humanity?
Mm-hmm.
There is not a place for this,
Mm-hmm.
at least that I'm aware of. There might be, but you're talking about, for me, after that first moment, I spent 50 days in a mental institution, on and off. I was put on drugs that didn't feel right. Like, I was told I was bipolar. I was on these crazy pharmaceutical drugs that took me away from this connection to the divine.
Mm-hmm.
And I got suicidal. I almost killed myself multiple times. And now, 7 years later, through this like brutal but beautiful awakening,
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually figuring out, okay, how to actualize this into 3-dimensional reality and use what I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of us, it gets that brutal. Some people even kill themselves because they go into a mental institute, they come out, they're on these meds, they don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, obviously it's all good, but if I could have had that sort of school or institute to help me 7 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could have, how far along I could be as someone in service. And it's okay, but it's a part of like what, as humanity, like you say, like, it's not something that we're tapped into right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said. I see that over and over, especially lately. I see a lot of people, even in the spiritual community, sort of bad-mouthing psychedelics and the use of psychedelics. And for partially a good reason, where, some people, a lot of people perhaps, utilize psychedelics for bypassing or escaping or just getting high. And it just becomes like another drug for them. And it is what it is. I get that. But they're really just tools. And they're the most powerful tools, in my opinion, on the planet.
Sure.
For accessing consciousness, raising consciousness. And if and when done correctly, they're the most powerful tools to actually, transcend out of, and heal trauma and transcend out of patterns and break loops and these kind of things. But they're really tools, and a tool like a shovel can be used to dig a garden or it could be used to dig a grave. It's really all depends how it's used. And I feel like it's exactly like you're saying, Ryan, like there's not enough systems in place to help people utilize these tools before, during, and after. And yes, they're starting.
Sure.
And I've spoken about this many times, where they need more clinical trials and more studies and more backing to help build out these systems so that people can get the proper training and proper therapy and proper integration afterwards, because they're so powerful. And with great power comes great responsibility. And that's the thing is, a lot of people like you, like myself, even end up, diving into psychedelics, and then there's just not the proper, transition system in place. And it could leave someone confused, or just not having the words to describe something that's so ineffable. It's so beyond anything I've ever experienced, is my psychedelic use. And it's such a challenge to try to explain it to someone after. It's like, good luck. And then most people we're trying to explain it to don't even understand psychedelics. So it's like, doesn't land
Yeah.
at all, and then I
Exactly.
could totally get it, where they see like you're crazy or you've lost your mind. And, maybe one has transcended that part of their mind, but it doesn't make them crazy. It just means you're seeing things with a different perspective. And so yeah, I agree with that for sure. It needs more systems in place that are helping people integrate into this new version of themselves. And that could be extremely powerful, extremely beneficial for society, because like you're saying, people are, it brings you closer to that source, to the oneness, to God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. It's just a word, but it's really bringing people closer to oneness. And then it's what I'm seeing, what's lacking is the proper tools or people or systems to integrate it, to be able to carry forward in this new perspective. And yeah.
I mean, man, could you imagine we lived in a society where when someone said, I am God or I am Jesus, we were like, yes, we got another one.
Yeah.
No, right now it's like,
Yeah.
that person's insane. Get him in the mental health, get him in the psych ward now.
Yeah.
And that's a part of the system.
Mhm.
I mean,
For sure.
let's be honest, MK Ultra, CIA,
Mhm.
they tested people. I think they know that the people that take psychedelics are not easily controllable.
Right.
They don't want free spirits.
Mhm.
They don't want us to fly and do like what our soul, like whatever our soul wants to do.
Right.
And luckily, I made it through,
Mhm.
and I'm finding I know what my soul wants to do.
Mhm.
Now at this point, I'm completely sober. Like, I don't smoke weed. I don't do, I haven't taken anything in 7 months.
Mhm.
And even at that point, there was no psychedelics for years.
Mhm.
Yeah, my most recent awakening came from just smoking marijuana.
Mhm.
And then I realized I need to be sober to figure out what all this means.
Sure.
And it's been super clear, because all those lessons from the past on all the psychedelics that I did, they're still with me,
Mhm.
at least in my experience. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's like you said, the systems aren't there.
Mhm.
You can go do like an amazing ceremony, I think, like, in Peru or here in Austin, and then you're back at home and there's maybe like a place or some sort of retreat center you could go for like integration sober now. Like,
Mhm.
okay, what did you learn? Let's think about it. Let's journal, meditate, talk therapy
Mhm.
to really help people to come back from those, like, really, like you said, psychedelics are amazing. They're a big tool. But yeah, it can get out of hand.
Mhm.
That's just a part of it.
Yeah, totally. They're very powerful. So it's like, with great power comes great responsibility, right? And it's like, yeah, and I've seen it. I've seen it with myself. I've seen it with other people that, get get absorbed by the power of it, how powerful it is. And then I could see it being, even for myself at times, where I was using them to really blast off, and like, oh, I want to access more of the divine or more of the consciousness, and instead of focusing more on the integration, and that led me to a series of multiple ceremonies in a short amount of time. And I was like able to keep showing up to them and keep getting the codes and applying the codes in my life real time. And, my business started taking off, my career started taking off, and my relationship started improving and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, wow, these psychedelics are playing a tremendous role in that. And I was able to keep up. until I went to, the king boss level of psychedelics that I call it, which is iboga, and
Oh,
iboga
yeah, yeah.
was a whole other different level.
That's when we linked up on a Zoom.
That's right. That's
Remember
when we
that?
linked up. It was shortly after iboga, and that's why there's a lot of resonance there, because after iboga, iboga was so powerful that it really, really dismantled my ego and my identity, and I've heard that many, many times over the years of like, oh, they'll kill your ego, or these psychedelics will kill your ego. And there was moments of that, but
Mm,
nothing like iboga. Like iboga was it really dissolved a lot of my beliefs, limiting and not limiting. Just all of my beliefs were like dissolved. And then I just had this clear lens, almost like a baby brain of
mm,
how I was looking at the world. Like everything was new, and there was nothing limiting about it. It was just and like baby brain is completely innocent, right? When a
sure.
child is born, you have a child, you see like they're looking at things with innocent eyes. And that's what it felt like. That's what it was. And that, I kept hearing the quote or the line from the Bible where only the children will enter the kingdom of heaven.
Mm,
And that's where it really landed. I was like, I literally felt like I was in this heaven-like place. I just didn't know how to make sense of it. I didn't have the reasoning or the logic. That part of my brain wasn't online anymore. It was just like pure innocence.
you mean during the iboga?
During and after.
Okay,
It
after
was
too.
like, because usually after my other psychedelic experiences, I still had my beliefs were still in place. Like it wasn't those medicines weren't enough to dissolve my beliefs. But this time it was. And I was like, wow, I don't even know what's real and what's not real. And I shared this, with a couple of close friends that were checking up on me. And it was similar to your story. Like they probably thought I had lost my mind.
Mm,
And it was very interesting to see how people would react once I shared and exposed that and they thought I lost my mind. Like
sure.
people's reactions, was very telling to like where they were at on their journey. And then, sure enough, with about a month of integration and we talked, and I had some other really good friends check on me, like I got my mind back,
Mm.
and it was actually more aware than ever. It was clear, and it was very in tune and very perceptive and very sensitive. And it turned out to be such a blessing. It was scary in those times, and it was rattling and jarring. But looking back, it was the most powerful ceremony that I've ever done out of many, many ceremonies. And yeah, it showed me that how powerful integration is, like really it took the time to like really integrate. And if I didn't have that space to really integrate, it could have been really disruptive.
So do you think at that point, right, coming out of there, it would be cool to have like a place you could go for like 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Where it was like food set up, a program, a therapist to talk to. Not like obviously no pharmaceuticals. I'm talking about like nature integration. Like what are we doing with this?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be right?
That'd be incredible.
Yeah.
Be amazing. I think that would be the best thing for it. And I'd say like most people probably are just so caught up in the matrix life that it's hard to take that much time off, because
No
they
doubt.
got to get back to their family or their job or whatever, but it's really those things, and they're great. There's nothing wrong with having that. Absolutely not. Those things are great, but it's like those things, those responsibilities can also just keep someone in that old identity as well, that the psychedelics are helpful for transitioning out of or shifting. It's like you said, and I always go back to that, like psychedelic, the word, although it's triggering for some, it just means soul revealing. It's just revealing that you are a soul.
Yeah.
You are a soul with a body, not a body with a soul. And 99% of people, I think, believe that they're a body and they have a soul. But it's really, psychedelics show you the other way around. You are a soul living in this temporary body.
100%.
And that's like so expansive once you realize that, because your soul, it's like how we talked earlier with the podcast before we were rolling, is like your soul is limitless, and like once you realize that, like it really changes the paradigm you're in. Because like to have an essence that is limitless is pretty incredible.
Yeah. And then you think about what you just said about how like most people can't take the time, especially in America.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, not just America, right? It's all over, but society and the system is not set up for you to be able to stop and think about your soul and what it might be
Yeah.
and what it might not be. It's not set up for that
At all.
I'm like trying to hang out with people in Austin is hard.
Yeah.
Everyone's got stuff to do
Stuff to
all
do,
the time.
for
And
sure.
me, I'm so fortunate. Like I have my business, you know, like I'm doing pretty good, you know, like life of service isn't like you're not going to make money doing that. But I have like a pretty good setup going on, but I have a lot of time for reflection, and it really has helped me to up level.
So valuable.
Yeah. And it's like, you feel bad for that. Not everyone has that moment. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, I believe the system doesn't want us as humans to be able to stop and realize what we actually are. Like we are great technology. You ever thought about like,
Yeah.
we don't plug into the wall to get electricity, but we are electricity.
Yeah.
We just sleep and we run for like 80 to 110 years. It's crazy. And so like, we don't stop to really have a moment to like reflect in that and understand like, I'm only here for so much time. Maybe I would love to do something besides like what I'm doing right now. As a baseball player and having enough financial capability to stop and think, like I'm just so blessed. So for me, again, like thinking about like others, like I want that for others. And you see, like now I have a daughter and so I see the way that things are headed. It feels like the left and the right, the top and the bottom are all dividing more and more. I don't really like the world I'm seeing like for her future. So I want to try and do something about it. You know, like that's why I want to grow my voice. For me, it's like service and action, but like doing this podcast with you is like what I want to help influence people who are now and the generations coming in to really, in the end, man, reconnect to Jesus of the Spirit, the guy who cared about people. You know, it's like he had the heart to take care of people. And like, I think sometimes about like, how could I get a job at the UN? Like I need to like go to university and get all these degrees. It's like, what about the degree of my heart? Why doesn't that just matter only? What else matters outside of how much I care? It shouldn't.
It shouldn't. I don't think it really does. You're onto it. It's just you're bringing it right to the front lines by going and be of service every chance that you get. It's the most amazing thing. It's the thing that Jesus talks about the most. That's the most important thing, is to go and help the others, people in need. You know, and there's a lot of people in need. There's a lot of people that are poor and sick and dying and, you know, in prison and being of service, you know, is the way. It's like Jesus came back with 2 commandments, right? He's like, yes, I want you to uphold the original 10 commandments, and I'm here to bring 2 new commandments. It's like love God with your heart, mind, and soul, you know, and God is a word, but God can mean life, you know, and God is life. So it's like love life, love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Your heart, mind, and soul are inside of you. So it's like really like loving your internal self, you know, your inner body, your essence, your energy with all of your heart, all of your mind, all of your soul. If people could just do that, it's a big shift, you know?
For sure.
And then he says, love your neighbor like you love yourself. So now you're loving life, you're loving God, you're loving the universe, and then you're loving your neighbor as much as you love yourself or God, you know?
Yeah.
If everybody could just do that, it'd be so simple. It's such a like, he had it dialed in.
Yeah. Like, even down to the system, you know, if we could get that in the system makers, that's heaven on earth.
That's
like,
heaven on earth.
I don't believe heaven or hell. Like we're not living here to prove if we go anywhere else. I don't know what happens after, and I'm okay with the mystery, but like we're here right now living, we get these emotions, you know, we get sad and it's real. Like it's real for this lifetime. All right. So like if we do have the ability to create heaven on earth, and I've said this before, I said it to you yesterday, like, I just don't think we're intellectual beings until we figure that out. All this innovation is cool. Our cell phones, our technology, but whilst we're making that technology on the backs of beautiful divine humans just like us, like, sorry, like Apple, like those guys are making all their money based on like horrific condition working. Like, we're not intellectual until we figure out that that's not okay.
Yeah, or maybe they are intellectual, but they're not intelligent,
Sure.
intelligent, like being the heart and mind
true.
in coherence. It's all head. It's all in the mind. It's all profitability. It's all like, not treating your neighbor like yourself, because the neighbor is doing the slave labor and you're just benefiting. One is just benefiting. Myself too. I have 2 iPhones over there. But
again, it's not something to feel bad about, though.
Yeah.
It's like, this is something that me and you right now are coming to the awareness of. And the more people that become aware, the more demand there becomes for something to change.
Something else, yeah.
We can't do it overnight. That's one of those things. Like, this is actually an interesting subject, Messiah complex. You've heard of this?
Tell me more.
Well, it's something that's more, you'll hear more in like the pharmaceutical, psychiatric care. And it's something that comes with saying, I am Jesus. It's like when you think that you can change the world and it's only you that can change the world and it has to happen now. And some people even still feel that way about me with what I'm doing online. It's like, I don't know. I don't think I can save the world, but I think I can help be a shift in consciousness by putting out videos of somebody helping like Yeshua would on the streets in 2025. Like, there's not that many of us who are doing it. So I'm going to do that. I don't think I can save the world. But when you have that blast off in the beginning, it's a part of what happens. You get labeled bipolar. People say you have Messiah complex. But again, it's like it's because there's a pharmaceutical industry that there's a pharmaceutical industry, and then there's a system that doesn't want a bunch of people with Messiah complex to figure out how to actualize that. So going back to what I'm saying is like, I have an iPhone. I have Cobalt in my iPhone. There's whatever. I'm not saying that tonight we have to go like find a different phone. It starts with awareness.
Sure.
And things take time. And that's like the beautiful part of Messiah complex, because I can't save the world overnight, but I can be a part of the change that I want to see. And without feeling like a little bit of Messiah complex, I will never get there. And you have to have the belief that you can actually make a change. If you're just like, that's the way the world is, can't do anything about it, well then, nothing will happen.
Nothing will happen, yeah.
But if you believe that you can be a part of it and you want to help / save the world, but in a very balanced, grounded way, and you tell the truth. Like, we're telling the truth today, some of these truths, they're pretty hardcore. The wrong person hears it, I could become a target. Like, that's truth. They don't like these messages. So but that Messiah complex is an inversion of society. If we had a society, like I said earlier, where I am Jesus or I am God, which is the Messiah complex, could be harnessed and seen as something awesome, like amazing. We have another person. Let's help them use this. It would change. But right now it's insane or crazy. And then people start, feeling shame, questioning their soul, not understanding. And it's like, no, we can help you bring this into reality and make it useful. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I agree, Ryan. It all starts with that. It all starts with having the conversation, and being truthful in that conversation. And a lot of it for me too, like, comes around like the understanding of the words, like Jesus, how most people refer to him as, like, his real name is Yeshua. Right? Yeah. That's his Hebrew name. The name Jesus only came around in like the 16 or 1700s. Before then, the letter J didn't even exist. Doesn't exist in Hebrew. So his name actually isn't Jesus. It's Yeshua.
Yeah.
And I find it kind of funny how, everybody calls him Jesus, but it's actually not his name. Like, and there's so many times in the Bible where they like mention how important it is to call him by his name. So that part is really interesting for me and funny. So his name is Yeshua, and Yeshua, what it means, the name Yeshua, is there's salvation in the now. And when you really break that down, it's really powerful because there is salvation in the now. The now is all there is. There's no past, there's no future. It's always the now. It will always be the now. And in that now, there's really no problems in the now. It's only when the mind comes in and starts to, have regrets about the past or worrying about the future that one starts to get into a fearful state.
Yeah.
Where Christ consciousness, Yeshua the Christ, salvation in the now with the Christ, which is the anointed one. He's anointed by I believe he's anointed by the chemicals in his brain. Like he's able to access the cerebral spinal fluid that was anointing his brain to have this state, this consciousness of pure awareness and pure love and pure peace and pure harmony. And like, that's really accessing the Christ consciousness, and he says, I always just go back to what does Jesus say? And Jesus says, you will do greater things than I. So here's the guy that they're putting up as God and pedestalizing as God. And meanwhile, that guy is saying, yeah, you will do greater things than me. So it's like, it's so awesome. It says so much about the guy. Like he's not trying to be the only God. He's not trying to be the one and only. And he was so amazing that I get why people would put him as that. But then I also get that he's like, it's like you said earlier, like by doing that, people are really just like outsourcing themselves, like you're a child of God as well. Everybody's children of God.
Yeah.
And then they're just pedestalizing this man and making him their savior. But when you really break it down, and this is, so awakening for me when I found this, like Jesus never says that he's the Lord and Savior. He never says, call me Lord and Savior, like
a king.
A king. Like he's like, you go and find it where it says that in anywhere. He never says it. Like I challenge anybody. I'll concede as soon as you say it. Like I know this may trigger people, but like go ahead and find the line where Jesus says he's your Lord and Savior. He never says it.
No.
So it's pretty interesting that's like taken on such a powerful road. And I love Yeshua. He's my favorite guy ever. Like he's my favorite guy. He's the coolest guy, best guy ever. Lived a perfect life, was crucified and killed for it, and came back from the dead. And it's the coolest story of the best guy ever lived, in my opinion. But and also never says that he's your Lord and Savior. Like they utilized him as like their poster boy for the Catholic religion so that they could go out and like take over countries without ever having to like attack them, which was genius. It's evil genius. And then they create the Bible, or the New Testament rather, using another guy, like half of the New Testament is using another guy's theology that had nothing really to do with Jesus. Like this Paul guy, I've talked about this before, but like Paul never knew Jesus. Paul never met Jesus. Paul wasn't an apostle through Jesus. Yeah. And then meanwhile, they're using this Paul guy's teachings as more than half the Bible. And you start going to church and it's like, it's all about Paul. Yeah. Right? I'm like, I'm not signing up for this Paul guy. I'm signing up for Yeshua and Jesus. But somehow this Paul guy is totally in there. And then you find out this Paul guy has a totally different message than Jesus even has. Yeah. So it's very like, it's a whole thing, man. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. And why is the Vatican so like, glamorous and fancy and marble and this and gold?
It's the richest place in the world.
And all in bunch of churches, all the churches, they're fancy. And it's like, man, Jesus was potentially homeless.
Yeah.
Like we don't really know.
Living in the woods. Like,
yeah. It's, that's another thing that's just hilarious to me about the Jesus jewelry. I made a post about it, but it's like, wait, so, okay. You're going to tell me that there's an entire industry made of crosses, that most of the crosses are made from probably blood diamonds in Africa or gold or silver from a conflict area. And that represents Yeshua or Jesus. Come on. We got this one inverted. It's completely backwards. So like,
it's pretty wild.
Yeah. And this is the stuff I've found like really leaned into in the embodiment of just showing up. And that's like what you said. You like, Jesus isn't a Lord or a king. He never says it. He actually asks you to go beyond him and do greater things.
Mhm.
Now, the story is about, did he really resurrect? Did he do all this water into wine, walk on water, miracles? So I thought a lot about this, and whether he did it or not, it's another way to separate you from God,
Mm.
because we can't do that right now with our capabilities. So, like, of course Jesus is the Lord and Savior, and
Mm.
he died for our sins. But if you really think about it, it's like, well, what can I do that Yeshua or Jesus was doing?
Mhm.
I can show up for the poor. I
Mhm.
can speak out for the oppressed.
Mhm.
I can go to the sick and give them support. And I can do all those things. So that's what I'm going to do. I
Mhm.
don't need to be able to walk on water to follow and go beyond potentially Yeshua. I don't know. Like,
Mhm.
so there's just so many things you have to be discerning about when reading the Bible,
Mhm.
listening to a priest, but when you really just see it for what it is, it's I don't know if I want to call it a scam, but it's kind of a scam.
It's definitely
It's
it's
something.
very influential, and it could enable people to like make their whole life about it
Yeah.
without actually really knowing and understanding what it's really saying. Like, the Bible was written in Eastern philosophy, and Eastern philosophy is all metaphorical.
Yeah.
And turning water into wine, it might be a metaphor for
Sure.
something, and like many other things, walking on water could be a metaphor for, like, it was a big storm, and meanwhile he's just able to stay calm and stay centered amidst the storm that's happening. He's walking on the water of emotions, or maybe he literally did walk on water. Maybe he was an alchemist and he knew how to
Yeah.
play with all the things. And maybe that we're all capable of those things too once we access the Christ consciousness. And maybe he's saying you're able to do this as well. And he's like, and that may be so far for people to really grasp, is like, oh no, I can never do that stuff. And you know what? If you say you never could do it, well, for sure you never could do it,
Sure.
But I've definitely seen some pretty amazing things and capabilities come through when accessing these, parts of our mind that have been conditioned, right? We're all stuck in the conditioned mind for the majority of our life until we're able to transcend into the right side of our mind, the creative mind, the imagination. And there's even parts of the Bible, metaphors that Jesus is saying. He's like, I'm trying to remember the exact line, but he's like, yeah, I sit next to the right hand of my Father and in heaven. And people say, oh, he's literally at a table next to his dad on the right. But it's like, yeah, maybe he's accessing the right part of his mind, the creative mind, And there's a lot of metaphors like this in the Bible where it's referring to the right side of the mind. Very fascinating stuff. I think a lot of it is metaphorical. It deserves a lot of, introspection and reflection and attention to be like, what are they really talking about? Is it literal? Because if you take the Bible literally, there's a lot of things that are, for me, it just like doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
And then meanwhile, if you go around to metaphorically, it starts to really make sense on a multidimensional level. And I think, and even Jesus spoke in metaphors. So it's like, he's speaking in metaphors because once you start to understand the metaphors, it's like your mind actually expands.
Yeah,
It starts to open up instead of you just tell you like, oh, this is it. As a matter of fact, but he didn't speak like that. He spoke in metaphors. So it's really fascinating.
So I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think Yeshua, it says, John 14:12, you will do greater things than me if you follow my ways. I'm going to the Father now. Do you think that Yeshua would prefer that we figure out how to end human suffering, or that we can turn water into wine?
Right. Yeah. I think you start with helping people that need it the most,
That's him.
Yeah.
He cared about people.
Right.
So like, those are cool if he could really do them.
Yeah.
Which we don't know. It could be a metaphor.
Yeah.
But the real miracle, in my opinion, is if humanity could focus on humanity
100%.
and then figure out the tech innovation, go forward after we figured out systems where nobody has to suffer.
Yeah.
And it's possible. I don't care what anybody says. I believe that it would be possible if we collectively focused on it. Humans are capable of amazing things. Look at how far we've come. So if we could just pause and do it, we could do it. But that's a choice, just like most things. And it doesn't, right now, it's not a choice we're willing to make. So
yeah, until people like yourself really, show the way. And it goes back to what he's saying, the 2 commandments. Like he didn't say, go and make water into wine or go walk on water. Those weren't the commandments. He's like, love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor like you love yourself, And then when his apostles that he chose, he handpicked these people, and they're like, oh, Lord, Lord, let me do this for you and this. He's like, whoa, don't call me Lord. He's like, you didn't give me water when I was thirsty. You didn't give me food when I was hungry, and you didn't give me clothes when I was naked. And they're like, what are you talking about? We always looked after you, Lord. And he's like, no, you didn't feed the poor. You didn't give them water. You didn't give them clothing when they were naked. And he's like, if you do that to them, you're doing that to me, because we're all one, is what he's saying. He's not putting himself on a pedestal. And then, basically saying like, yeah, go and take care of the people that need it most before you go and put me on a pedestal. Like you missed the whole point if that's what you're doing. And that was a big part when I realized, Yeshua was saying this in the Bible and making it so clear to his apostles, like, you got to go and serve to be like me. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And it was a big awakening for me. And that's what got me back into service. And I don't talk about it too much publicly because I'm, it's not about me. It's not what I'm doing. But it was a big game changer for me, realizing like, yeah, no, I have more than enough. I have an abundance that I can go and give to people. And that is what Yeshua wanted, and then and in doing so, in those times of service, like, it gave me so much more than, the joy or the experience that I had with my material belongings that I was, pursuing for so long.
Sure.
Yeah, it was just, and it's an energetical thing too. Like when you're being of service, you have more than enough. So you're actually in an abundant state of being, right? And it shifts your state. So yeah, I always go back to what Yeshua says. Like for me, he's the ultimate guy, the spiritual master that had the codes and lived it and embodied it. And it's wonderful to see you embody this, Ryan, especially, coming from a totally different path as a professional athlete and baseball player. Is there anything that comes up when I share that for you?
No, I was thinking, man, you should share more about your service, because we are like, social media is a consciousness. And if we want to lift the conscious of other people and exist to inspire someone, I'm doing my thing the way I do it. I post, that's like the only thing that I do. It's like, for whatever reason, I really like that.
Great.
But I think like hearing more about like business leaders who are out there like yourself, like you've achieved so much and you have like an inspiring voice. People love to hear from you. I think it would be dope. Like, not like you don't have to go as hard as me, but at least every now and then be like, yeah, I'm going out like today and doing this. Like people like, oh, you don't know who that could inspire to
you
do
never
the
know.
Same thing. And there's a lot of confliction about this inside the Bible, whether Jesus was, outwardly doing this, but I think he was obviously outwardly doing it. I mean, the Bible is full of, like you said, I think I'm pretty sure that no one who wrote the Bible knew him, but there's so many things about him serving the poor and doing this and that. So he obviously wasn't doing it only in secret. So for us to carry forward his message and take it beyond, the more of us that are discussing, what we're doing out there, whether that's like donating to a charity or taking the presence. I feel like taking your own money with your presence and doing it is even more powerful than just a charitable donation. But of course, they're all not bad. But talking about it, I think, is necessary now because we've gotten so far away from his real spirit. So I guess it's a little challenge.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm talking about it right now. So that's it. It's a stretch for me.
It's awesome.
And I just, for me, I get to be careful of, making sure that I'm not doing the service because I know that it comes back around to me, and I know I don't want to make it about, oh, I know this is very good and this is good karma. And it's just like the actual, like, it's the knowing for me that I have so much to give. And then it's like, well, now I get to go and give it, and I was serving at the prison for a while, and that was the feeling that I would get leaving the prison, knowing that I inspired some young men or some older men even, and just seeing like how happy they were, just knowing that I was going there. Like they were actually genuinely so receptive, knowing that some young businessman is going and taking time out of his day to go and talk to them. Like they were so appreciative. They were more appreciative than like some of my own employees. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was like, wow, these people are really receptive, and I get it.
Sure.
They're in a really tough spot, and that's, that was part of it. But it was, it always felt really, really good. And just seeing, you never know how this might inspire someone, and, they make a change in their life. And the good thing about that was, this was a really cool stat that I heard. It was like, out of the people in that program that we were in, which was really all about getting them to connect with God, it had such a low, like everybody in that went to that program, it was like a 14% return rate to prison, where the average return rate to prison was like almost 60%. So like 6 out of 10 people, they leave prison and end up coming back.
Sure.
But it was like only 14% of the people in that program. And that was cool. I was like, wow, it feels like it's making some sort of difference, and it was like Jesus said, like those people really need it, and I would see that when I would go to prison. I was like, yeah, these people it's a rough fucking place to be. Part of my French,
it's all
like,
good.
it's not, it sucks. And so is obviously being on the street is a really rough place to go. And that's what inspired me to go feed people food. And we got to go do that yesterday, and it was a beautiful experience. I'm so glad we got to share that together. And
Me too.
I look forward to doing more with it, Ryan. And, Africa has been calling, and I'd love to go and serve with you in Africa. I think that would be a wonderful experience.
Yeah, man, I'm down. I would love to get you out to Uganda.
Yeah.
I got a crew set up there waiting for us. Like, even if anybody who's listening too, you know, I would love to go there with a crew, because there's just so, like, it's a movement I think that kind of needs to pick up, like more and more people who are in that abundance.
Yeah.
Because, you mentioned karma just before, and I wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, please.
Do you believe in this?
In karma?
Yeah.
I do believe in karma, yeah.
So I'm not I'm not saying I don't, but I'm not saying I do. Only because, like, and maybe it has to do with like lifetimes, whatever. But in this lifetime, like, so many people seem to be making evil choices who may never in this lifetime experience the karma coming back at them. So it feels like we're in a bit of a battle, a spiritual battle on planet Earth. I mean, obviously there's real wars happening, and I almost like the spiritual one seems like, when I do this, like you said, be careful. Like, yeah, I want things to come back to me, but I don't know if they do. And the reason I want them to come back to me is so I can do more.
Sure.
So I hope that it's real karma, but sometimes I'm walking around and I'm like, man, these people seem to be just doing evil, and like their bank accounts are growing. They're living this lavish life. They're not feeling it. Like, so it makes me just wonder, is it real, or I don't know the answer.
Yeah, it's a great thing to ponder, and it's a hard thing to prove. It's a big topic. I'd say this, it goes back to what I said about before, where the code, one of the biggest codes of this year for me was only the children will enter the kingdom of heaven. And what does that mean? Well, children are the most innocent beings that there are, right? So anyone that's doing harm to others, it's going against those commandments that Yeshua deliberately came back and made it very, very clear. So anyone that's going against those commandments and doing things that make them not innocent, they're not going to enter the kingdom of heaven. How could they? They're not going to. They're so self-absorbed and self-obsessed. And it's all really about, for them, benefiting themselves on an individual level, that there's nothing innocent about that. It's really just making oneself farther and farther from being innocent. And then it ends up taking up so much space in their mind and in their psyche that they miss the whole point, that we're here to, to become one again and to help our neighbor and love God. And it goes back to, one of the lines in the Bible. It's harder for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven than for a camel to walk through the eye of a needle. And because there's nothing wrong with being rich. There's nothing wrong with having money. I'm not saying that, but it's like a rich man will have so much on his mind and so much on his psyche that it makes it hard to be like a child again. It makes it hard to be innocent, because realistically, it's like you said, you should be giving back to the people. You have so much, and it's like it never ends up being enough. So that's what I get out of it, and it's like, as long as one is being, innocent and, not self-obsessed, and they have the opportunity to give back, well, you should, that's what Jesus is saying, is go and love your neighbor like you love yourself. So if you're loving yourself and you're not loving your neighbor, you're missing the point as well.
Yeah, for sure. And we're all neighbors here on Earth.
We're all neighbors. Yeah, we're all children of God. Exactly.
Like if there's multiple universes and all these planets and all this infinite space out there, we're all, like you said, children of God. We're neighbors here on Earth. It doesn't matter about skin color, borders. All that is just noise.
Yep.
Like in us is we all bleed the same blood.
Mm-hmm.
We all have like the same organ makeup.
Yeah.
And going back to the stuff Jesus talks about the sacred oil in the pineal gland, it's all the same, man.
That's right.
So like, let's, the whole idea of like, and I really appreciate you doing this, and we got to come together.
Yeah.
Like, really. That's the thing.
Exactly.
We all need to come together, differences aside, love each other. Like,
yes,
we could figure it out if we really wanted to.
You're nailing it. Exactly. We talked about this too before, is they have it set up, the powers that be, the matrix, the system, whatever, they have it set up, and they keep going back to this. It's just to keep causing division, to make people think that it's you versus me, or me versus you, and we're in competition, and, I got to out compete my neighbor, and I got to get more than my neighbor, or have this, or fuck my neighbor, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's really the opposite. That's the trick. That's the deception, is it's not me versus you, or you versus me, or whatever. It's you and me versus the system. And that's when the neighbors start loving each other like they love themselves. That's when it gets really dangerous for the system and for the matrix, because we outnumber them like 10 million to 1. The numbers are so intense, like so heavy for us in our favor, that they wouldn't have a chance. So that's why they'll just keep doing everything they possibly can to keep getting us to divide and be against each other, whether that's race, which isn't even real. That's a whole other topic. They made up the racist thing to it's a whole other topic. Races, sex, gender, class, religion, religion's a big one.
Oh yeah, huge.
Just to have us against each other, because as soon as people would figure out that we could unite and it's all of us versus the system, it's over, man. It's over. And it's so simple.
We got to get organized. That's the thing that they have on us. They're
organized.
They're a little more organized than we are.
Organized. They're way more organized for sure. Yeah, we got to get organized, and
yes.
I don't know how that's going to happen, but conversations like this definitely don't hurt.
No, yeah. And like maybe it's a lot about this generation handing it off, putting out the consciousness in conversations like this. So like the generations coming up can help us out, or you can make those changes, and we can inspire that. But let's see. I mean, it feels like it's a very interesting time with the cosmos. You never know what sort of gifts someone or something might give us. I mean, part of my story, I love to talk about it, is visitation by ETs. I had a random experience 7 months ago where I would have never in a million years thought that would have happened, and it did. It was clear, and it was very empathetic and telepathic conversation, just saying like, get on mission now. Start your service work. Get after it. Going back to a baseball player, when I have a mission, and I'm focused.
Hmm.
I'm really good at what I do.
Yeah, you lock
It's
in.
like what I do.
Yeah.
So, and this mission, serving people, I like way better than baseball. So
Wow.
I hope to achieve really helpful things for humanity with what I'm doing.
I love that. And you are, Ryan, you're on it. And with an attitude like that, it's unstoppable. And I know that, God, the universe, life loves that energy, because that's really like God like energy, right? The God energy, life force energy is unstoppable. It doesn't stop. It's slow. But it's persistent,
Sure.
God's speed is very slow, but it's very persistent, and it doesn't stop, persistence always beats resistance. So I encourage you. I applaud you. I admire you. And I just want to say, keep going. You have my full support, and look forward to more service together. And thank you for being you, and thank you for having the courage to speak out on it. It's very, very important. And is there any final words before we sign off?
No, I mean, I just appreciate you giving me this voice. I've it's been a little bit of a rough journey here and then. I've come across too strong in certain moments, even in this town in Austin, we've discussed. And like, I just really appreciate you seeing me and feeling the groundedness within me. And yeah, I mean, for anybody listening that feels inspired, like, service is a beautiful thing. You'll feel good doing it. So if you have time, doesn't even have to be with money. Just be of service to someone who needs it.
Yeah.
You'll lift their spirit, and in turn lift your own. So
amen.
That's it.
That's beautiful. There's one other thing. I wanted to sign off, but it keeps
sure.
coming up, and I'm like, okay, I got to ask him.
Let's
keep
go.
feeling my intuition. And then we'll sign off. You went through 14 injuries in your baseball career. It's a lot of injuries, a lot of surgeries too, right?
14 surgeries.
14 surgeries.
And more injuries than that.
That's wild. To me, that's a lot, because even when I get injured, like I mentioned, I have a little pec injury now, and it's like, it's such a thing to overcome, especially when there's a surgery. I've never had a surgery, as far as I know. Maybe when I was a child, but I don't even think so. So I would love to know, as distilled as you can, like, what is the biggest takeaway that you got from overcoming those surgeries and like coming back? Like, there's a big comeback, right? Like, to go through that and come back. How does that play a factor in your life, and like utilizing that for service? Does that make sense?
Okay. So it felt like, for me, I mean, yeah, physical pain will obviously, and surgery will really make you appreciate when you can even just walk around. I mean, 2 of my surgeries caused me to not walk for like 5 months.
Wow.
So really to appreciate when I can just be mobile, have some fun. But what I realized was, at least what I feel like, is that was all training for what was coming. And all that psych ward stuff, kind of being called insane, being called bipolar, being called, and making mistakes like I did here in Austin, kind of, coming across, like you said, something, getting in touch with God is slow. But when you first come to it, you want it to go fast.
Yeah.
You want it now.
Yeah.
And so you do things that can be taken the wrong way.
Sure.
So those surgeries and really helped me to realize that it's okay. Ownership, own your mistakes. Be okay with the fact that it was all coming from a good place in your heart, and don't quit. Be resilient, get over, move past bipolar, just like people call, like the diagnoses, people calling you crazy. It's okay. Like, just keep showing up with that heart, be resilient, keep moving forward, and things will eventually come to. And like, having this discussion with you here in Austin is a moment for me, because it's also proof that I am resilient, and I'm taking all my experience and grounding them in humility and love. So that's what I would say.
Beautiful. It's a great code. Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, you too.
Awesome. Thank you.